You don't lose sleep because they hurt you. You lose sleep because they were supposed to protect you. Sibling betrayal doesn't arrive like a punch. It arrives like a quiet theft. Something disappears from you, and no one sees it leave. Not even you. Not at first. You tell yourself it wasn't that bad. You tell yourself blood matters. You tell yourself family is complicated. But late at night, when the house is quiet and your mind finally stops running, one truth taps on the inside of your chest. They knew you, and they still chose themselves. This is the kind of wound people don't validate. Friends nod politely, strangers minimize it. Even therapists sometimes rush you toward forgiveness before you finish bleeding. But you know better. You feel it in your body, in the way your shoulders tense when their name is mentioned, in the way your jaw tightens when someone says, "But they're still your sibling." You've carried this longer than you admit. And here's the forbidden part no one says out loud. You don't actually want closure. You want peace without having to beg someone who betrayed you to understand what they did. That's where this path begins. Not the soft path, not the polite one. The Machiavelli path. Not revenge, not bitterness. Power. The kind that lets you sleep again. From the outside, sibling betrayal looks small. A favor not returned. A secret shared. A line crossed. A moment where they chose status, approval, inheritance, attention, or comfort over you. But inside you, it splits something. Because siblings are supposed to be witnesses. They see your childhood, your scars, your beginnings. When they betray you, it rewrites the past. Suddenly you question every memory, every laugh, every shared silence. Was it real? Or were you alone the whole time? This is where most people get stuck. They wait. They wait for an apology that never comes. They wait for accountability. They wait for a conversation that will finally make it make sense. And while they wait, the wound stays open. You replay the moment again and again. You imagine what you should have said. You imagine confronting them. You imagine them finally understanding and saying the words you need to hear. But Machiavelli would look at this waiting and say something ruthless. The one who waits for closure gives power to the one who caused the wound. And that's the trap. You weren't just betrayed once. You're being betrayed every day you keep handing them the authority to heal you. You're not imagining this. Your body knows the truth even when your mind tries to soften it. Here's the first psychological shift. And it's uncomfortable. Not all betrayals come from malice. Some come from weakness. Your sibling didn't betray you because you weren't enough. They betrayed you because they were afraid of what standing with you would cost them. Status, approval, comfort, control. And here's the brutal truth most people avoid. A weak person with access to your history is more dangerous than an enemy who never knew you. That realization hurts. But it also frees you, because once you stop romanticizing the bond, you can finally see the pattern. They minimized you. They redirected blame. They rewrote the story so they could stay comfortable. And every time you tried to explain your pain, you watched their eyes glaze over. Not because they didn't hear you, but because hearing you would require change. You're not broken. You were never taught another way. You were taught loyalty without boundaries, forgiveness without accountability, family without safety. This is the moment your life begins to make sense. The hidden threat isn't them. It's the part of you that still wants their validation. That's the part Machiavelli would warn you about. Because as long as you want them to admit what they did, they still control you. As long as you want them to feel guilty, they still live rent-free in your nervous system. And here's where things get dark. Some siblings never apologize because the betrayal benefited them. Admitting it would mean giving up what they gained. Power, position, inheritance, the role of the good one. So they stay silent, or they gaslight, or they minimize. And you're left holding the grief alone. You survive things you still don't have words for. Machiavelli would not tell you to confront them again. He would tell you to withdraw emotionally without announcement. Not out of spite, out of self-respect. Because nothing unsettles a betrayer more than losing access to the person they assumed would always stay available. Here is the core revelation. Closure is a fantasy sold to people who were never meant to get justice. Peace comes from something colder. Definition. You define what happened. You define what access they get now. You define the meaning of the bond going forward. not them. When you stop trying to make them understand, something strange happens. Your nervous system relaxes. Your mind stops rehearsing conversations. Your energy returns. This isn't forgiveness. It's sovereignty. And maybe part of you is realizing this right now. Maybe part of you is thinking about your own sibling as you listen. If that's happening, sit with it. It's okay to feel this. You don't have to comment. You don't have to explain your story. But if you feel the urge to name it, to finally admit what it cost you, that's your body asking to be seen. You're allowed to want more. And if this way of seeing things feels unfamiliar but grounding, you already know what that means. You remember small moments now, the look they gave you when you needed support, the silence after you spoke up, the way they showed up for others but not for you. These memories used to feel confusing. Now they feel clarifying. You're no longer asking, why did they do this? You're asking, why did I stay available afterward? That question changes everything. You don't need a final conversation. You don't need them to validate your pain. Your healing doesn't require their participation. And that's the first taste of peace. You walk into a room where their name used to carry weight. Your body notices before your mind does. The breath is steadier. The chest isn't tight anymore. Something has shifted. You feel it when family stories come up, when old photos resurface, when someone casually asks, have you talked to them lately? Before, that question used to pull you backward. Now it just lands. You're not numb. You're clear. You see the doorway where you once stood waiting for recognition, waiting for fairness, waiting for them to finally see you. You don't stand there anymore. This is what withdrawal actually feels like. Not anger, not drama, distance without explanation. And distance, when chosen, becomes power. Here's what no one warned you about. When you stop chasing closure, the grief doesn't vanish. It changes shape. It becomes quieter, more honest, less desperate. You grieve the sibling you thought you had. You grieve the version of yourself who kept hoping. You grieve the childhood belief that loyalty was guaranteed by blood. And beneath that grief, something else wakes up. Discernment. You begin noticing patterns you once excused. Who reaches out only when they need something? Who avoids accountability? Who benefits from silence? This awareness isn't bitterness, it's calibration. And it protects you from repeating the same bond in different bodies. There's a moment in healing that feels almost dangerous. It's when the anger fades before the justice arrives. Part of you wonders if you're letting them get away with it, if your calm means they've won. But Machiavelli understood something most people never do. Peace without closure isn't surrender. It's refusal. Refusal to keep bleeding in public. Refusal to keep explaining your pain to someone invested in misunderstanding it. Refusal to let your nervous system stay loyal to someone who wasn't loyal to you. This calm isn't weakness. It's the quiet that comes after you take your power back. And slowly, without ceremony, your life expands. You stop filtering decisions through how they'll react. You stop softening your success to keep the peace. You stop editing your truth to remain acceptable. New relationships feel different now. They feel slower, cleaner, more mutual. You notice when respect is present without effort, when care doesn't require convincing. And if something in this feels unsettling, if it challenges how you were taught to love, that's not a warning sign. That's growth. You're allowed to build a life where peace doesn't depend on someone else's remorse. The final truth is this. Some siblings are chapters, not lifelines. And the moment you stop waiting for them to change is the moment you stop shrinking to keep them comfortable. You didn't lose a sibling, you outgrew a betrayal. And every predator learns this too. Awareness is the predator of the predator.